listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. As always, coming to you from ESPN 975, 92.5. And guys, we getting ready to do this thing. We're here for a short time, but it's going to be a good time here today. I want to thank all the people in the chat here getting your champagne, wishes, caviar, dreams. Guys, we're getting ready to do this thing. So we're going to get right into it. Bradley, anything on the radar you want to talk about? There's a couple of things I want to talk about, but is anything out there that you want to talk about? First of all, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. You know why? Because this is the first thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about this Saturday, July 15th. It is time. The Summer of Champions 9, is that 9? 9 is upon us at the Humble Civic Center. One of the greatest cards, the greatest card we've ever put together. We've had a sellout already. We had to add more seats. It's going to be one of those nights that we are never going to forget, and you're going to regret if you don't join us there in person. If you're anywhere in the Humble, Houston, Pearland, Galveston, Friends, wherever the hell you are in the greater Houston area, you need to go on and get down there, man.
It's going to be good, man. Trick Williams is going to be in the house. Of course, Alicia Foxy will be in the house. Referee Nick Patrick will be in the house. The Heat will be in the house. Booker T will be in the house. And the lovely Queen, she's going to be there as well. You know what I mean? On her side, I'll be on my side. We'll be doing our thing. But it's going to be a great night at the Humble Civic Center, like Brad said. Summer Champions 9, the biggest party of the summer. Guys, come on out and have some fun. It's going to be good. Speaking of fun, now let's get right to it. It's been fun listening to the talk over the week about that boy LA Knight. He's been pretty much making headlines everywhere. I mean, from the comment that my big homie made, Kevin Nash, from the comments that I made, Disco Inferno, Conan, everybody's talking about LA Knight, and everybody pretty much coming to the same consensus. Yes, he's a throwback. He's a guy that's definitely taking from what worked back in the day and bringing it to today's wrestling. And I get it. What's old is new again. He had a huge ovation at Madison Square Garden. Like I say, man, this guy, he's going to get over. LA Knight, he's going to get over whether he got a belt around his waist, whether he don't have a belt around his waist. He's going to get over. But put the rocket on it. Put the rocket on LA Knight. Send him straight to the moon. That's just my opinion.
I'm with you, man. And I know that we talked about it extensively last time when we talked about what Kevin Nash said. And I think that one person's rip-off is another man's homage, right? And you know what? I remember hearing this about, was it Chris Rock? Maybe it was Chris Rock or Chappelle or one of those guys said, you know, when you first start out in comedy, you essentially are doing an impression of your favorite comic, you know, and they walked around, they were doing a Richard Pryor impression for the majority of the early part of their career until they were finally finding their footing. But you know what? Some of that style that's based in, one, where you fell in love with the medium, two, the first thing you tried is always going to stay with you a little bit. And I was telling you, I didn't see it until people started pointing out the Rock cadence, to use your word, or the Steve Austin attitude. And I still don't think that I'm 100% behind that that's what he's doing. But to say that he is not influenced by those two or even by that generation of performer would be silly to say. He's obviously influenced by it. The same way that I think a lot of guys, especially in his side of the age bracket, were influenced by that time because that's probably when they broke into the business or around that time or shortly thereafter.
You know, one could say Big Cass was a ripoff of, you know, Big Sexy.
Yeah.
Sure. You agree with me? You know, me personally, my first finishing move was the AK-47 elbow off the top rope, emulating Macho Man Savage. I couldn't stand up there like Mott, so I said, let me ditch this AK-47. But no, man, I think that's what good wrestlers do. Go out. One of the wrestlers that I took from was a guy by the name of Pat Tanaka. Pat Tanaka was bad, man. Never really got his just due his props because, you know, he had a lot of bad influences and whatnot. But Pat Tanaka, man, in the middle of that square circle, he was really, really good. And I stole a lot of his, flavor and brought and made it my own. So yeah, that's what we do.
And what is wrong with that? Nothing.
No.
In my opinion.
No.
You know what I mean? But it's different. Like, it would be different if he came out and was like wearing the shirts, the Versace shirts Rock used to wear, and with the sunglasses, and would say stuff like, if you smell and it doesn't matter, and his finish happened to do with like pulling off an elbow pad and throwing it in some direction, then maybe I'd be like, yo, seriously? Come on, man. Like, who are you trying to fool? But is it ripping off Shawn Michaels when Dolph Ziggler does the super kick in the same way and tunes up the band? No, I think it's paying homage and it's a tribute. And it's like, the other thing is, Rock isn't around anymore. Steve isn't around anymore.
They're dead.
You know, so why not somebody take the elements of the two most over guys in the history of the company and use them to his advantage?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, ain't no use of trying to reinvent the wheel.
Look, like for instance, we have somebody at Reality Wrestling, Josiah John, right? And you can tell Josiah patterns a lot of his in-ring style after you. And it's not even because you trained him. It's because he's like, man, this is a great moveset that fits his style, fits his physique. He can throw that sidekick really well. And not
just that, he grew up watching me.
And he grew up, and this was going to be my next point. He grew up emulating you probably 1,000 times before he ever stepped in front of a ring.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And to him, you know, I don't think that if you ask Josiah, are you ripping Booker off? Be like, no. But am I greatly influenced by him? 1,000%.
And if he steal a few moves, you know, I ain't gonna be mad at him. You know what I'm saying? He already just stole my old moveset. And I'm like, I'm like this here, you know. I remember, a few times somebody come up to me and say, hey, man, you mind if I do such and such? And I go, man, if it can make you some money, do it. You know, so for me, I'm all about, you know, passing it on to the next generation, and hopefully these kids can, you know, go out there and get it over. I saw Sergeant Slaughter. He was hot, though. Sergeant Slaughter's hot right now. He said he don't
about
even
Lacey.
He said he don't even watch the show no more. Ain't nobody called me and talked to me about the Cobra Clutch. Nobody said nothing.
But to in Sarge's defense, you said like people come up to you and you're like, hey, yeah, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. You know, I think Sarge seems like from a school where he's like, I would have appreciated a phone call. Not that you have to, but it's Sarge.
Yeah.
Like, how do you not show respect, Sarge?
Yeah, I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sarge, man. And he's let me stop.
It's like Randy Orton doing the RKO.
Right.
I think he actually called Diamond.
He did.
Dallas Page and say, hey, man, you mind if I, modify it and put a little flavor on it? And Dallas was like, yeah, most definitely, man. And it does make you feel good about, what you, contributed to the game when somebody else want to do your stuff. Because I know when I saw the Japanese girl do the Harlem Hangover and then attribute it to me, man, I felt pretty damn good about that, man. Somebody going out there and keeping, something that I did alive and then, attribute it to me as far as being the one that, put it on the map, and then they're just going to take it to the next level. Man, it's awesome. So for me to see somebody doing my scissor kick, I think Alicia Fox, at one point just stole my scissor kick, but she came and talked to me about it, and I actually gave her a few pointers as far as trying to land it properly and concise. So yeah, it's all about passing it on to the next level. We got to take a break, guys. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey, this is two-time Hall of Famer Booker T, and I want to invite all of you to Summer of Champions 9, going down at the Humble Civic Center, 7 o'clock bell time, guys. Brought to you by one Walker, Texas lawyer. Don't miss out on the biggest show of the summer, where all the championships will be on the line. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. Summer of Champions 9. Now, can you dig that, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. I still got it. Coming to you from ESPN 97.5, 92.5. Yeah, I still got it, man. One take book. That's what they call me.
That's what they call you?
One take book. When the red light's on, man, we get to work done, and we get it done quickly, if I may add, very quickly. But a couple of stories out there. I know we probably got some super chatters coming in, so I want to get this little number here out of the way. SmackDown rating came in this week, as well as Rampage number came in this week. SmackDown on Friday night did 2,561,000 views, and that is a number right there, creeping up on the 3, man. Can we get to a 3? Can we please get a 3? Like back in the day, we 3 was just a number. And Rampage, immediately following SmackDown, did 368,000 views. Okay, now my question is, is the Saturday, the Friday night thing working after SmackDown? We thought that, the piggyback would actually do them well. I thought anyway. But my question is WWE and AEW literally a totally different audience? I'm talking about like the Republicans and the Democrats. I'm serious.
I know why you would make that statement, and I don't disagree with it in its premise. However, I do think there's crossover, but to me, it's almost like, I'm trying to think of a great comparison for it, because I think out of those 350,000 of those people who watched Rampage, I would venture a guess to say 90% to 100% of them watched SmackDown the 2 hours before. I think. Now,
I wouldn't agree with that. I would not agree with that at all.
So you think it is a completely you think it's two different segments of the audience?
It's got to be to have a drop off that significant.
No, I just think that it's
wanting to watch wrestling is what I mean. When it drops off from 2,561,000 to 368,000, that's a huge drop off of the casual. No, not the casual, the hardcore wrestling fan. You know what I mean?
I don't disagree. That is a huge drop off.
It's a huge drop off.
It's a huge drop off. But in all honesty, it's almost like, okay, for instance, this isn't a great comparison either, but I'm trying to think of a good comparison. It's almost like, okay, the Tonight Show would come on 11:35, right? And then after the Tonight Show, on another channel was the Late Late Show with James Corden. So you go from Jimmy Fallon on one channel to James Corden on another one. There's a drop off, right? I'm sure there's somebody who's like, I'm gonna watch Jimmy, then I'm gonna go watch James. But most people are gonna tune in for the Tonight Show. It's earlier, it's more well known, it's the bigger brand, it's on the more known channel. Whereas this other show that if you like late night, you're still gonna like, and if you're up, you might want to watch, is on a different channel. It's a smaller audience segment, but it's still some of the same audience.
Wrestling fans are in tune to wanting to watch wrestling.
I don't agree with that, because I'm a wrestling fan,
Yeah.
and I don't seek out New Japan.
No, not New Japan. I'm talking about American wrestling here. I'm talking about, you're one of those, you're part of that, like I just said, the Democrat and the Republican. You might be the Democrat that agree with a lot of stuff the Republicans say. So you might, join in. What I'm saying is, a lot of people in AEW don't agree with anything that's going on in WWE. And maybe I wouldn't say vice versa, but I would definitely say, that one side going to the other.
Yeah. Okay. Now that you frame it like that, yes, I agree with more of what you're saying. I think as far as
I know you do.
No, I don't agree with in totality. Let me rephrase. Let me rephrase for the record. I understand more of what you're coming from.
You said it right the first time.
No, I didn't. I'm correcting the record. We're striking that from the record. But as far as the Friday night show goes, to say it's a success is hard, right? Like overall, if you're looking at just apples to apples, wrestling show to wrestling show, obviously it's not successful if you compare it to SmackDown. Now,
let's compare it to NXT.
Okay, what did NXT have this week?
I think 560, 570, something like that.
Now, okay, apples to apples on that. Obviously, NXT And I actually think that that's a better. I think that's a better comparison because not everybody who watches Raw and SmackDown watches NXT, right? And obviously, as you said, not everyone who watches WWE watches AEW.
And the reason why I kind of feel like it's a different audience, catering to their own thing is just say, for instance, when Seth Rollins was on the show, the numbers went up to close to 800.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure that's a WWE audience that's tuning in to actually see Seth Rollins. I think the number would have been a lot higher if the AEW fans that wanted to see Seth Rollins as well, that number would have been a little bit higher. That's just my opinion.
Okay. I mean, sure. Now, overall, Friday in general in all of television isn't a great night.
You agree with me? Is
no.
What I'm saying.
Wait. What am I agreing to? Maybe we were reading a statement.
Everything.
No, I'm never going to agree with you on everything. But I will say this. I do think that there are different audience. They watch the shows for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
I think that if you like, and trust me, I'm not characterizing this in a negative way, but if you like just a straight wrestling show with long matches and a lot of crazy over-the-top action and big spots and things like that on a weekly basis, then you're going to gravitate to AEW. If you enjoy what we've all grown up on as a wrestling television show that features dynamic characters and storylines that draw you in, and it leads to a big match payoff, so it's a bit of a slower burn, you're going to like WWE. And right now, from a story perspective, there is no argument that WWE has been the superior of the two companies when it comes to executing the storylines and paying them off in big ways. I will say AEW, again, if you want that quick fix, it's like if you want that quick fix, like they're the people who drink, who sip scotch, and they're the people who take shots, right?
Wait a minute.
Wait. Now I'm getting somewhere.
No, you're not. You've never had a drink, so you.
No, I haven't, but I see these people. Right.
Okay.
They're the people who want like you might order like a nice Jack and Coke or a vodka and cranberry, sip it slowly, over your dinner and enjoy it. And that's why you might go to the bar, little unwind, little relax your mind. There are the people that go to the bar who just like line these shots up. I'm trying to get drunk. And that's like the AEW style of wrestling. I want to get drunk off some crazy action all the time, every time.
I was watching AEW, man. I was watching. I'm not gonna say the match or anything, but I was watching AEW, and it was like, the guys were working, okay,
for sure,
but nothing really was going on that really like moved me. And the people just start going, "This is awesome! This is awesome!" And I'm like, "What the hell is going on here?" It's like the fan come just for fan participation. Just to want to be a part of it, and I think that's the difference between the AEW fan and the WWE fan.
Yeah, and I think that I agree with that. I think that there's a different culture around.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Wrestling.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's nothing wrong with it.
Just
it's again like okay, man. I'm not killing it with my comparisons today, but
not
just
at all.
Follow me here. Follow me here. Follow me here. But like the people. Because I think your son did it for a period, and my nephews, I remember I would watch what they were looking at on YouTube, and they would watch other people playing video games, right? Yeah. And I never understood it. And I still don't understand it to this day. But there's a large group of people who watch YouTube videos of other people playing video games, right? And just because my personal taste doesn't mesh with the AEW style of wrestling all the time, doesn't mean that there aren't a massive amount of people who enjoy that product and that style of wrestling, the presentation of it. So for those reasons, I think that they could be different audiences. Now, to go back to your original question, do you think the Friday night show, Rampage, has been successful for AEW? Do you think it should be phased out? And the other question, I guess, is what is successful in Warner Brothers Discovery mind? If they say, man, we weren't getting 300,000 people watching before, we were running some movie.
That's what I was just going to say. It's on TNT, right? And
on Friday night.
The TNT doesn't have a whole lot going on. They're going to get 300,000 people to watch, something original. It's original content, right? You know what I mean? So to get 300,000 people, that might be good enough for TNT at this moment. I'm sure they would love better numbers, but I think they perhaps could be happy with that number. I don't know. I don't know the inside workings of AEW or anything like that, but they could be okay with 368,000 fans watching.
Well, because too, if SmackDown is on network television, a lot of people have access to that. Not everyone has cable package anymore, or you might be a cord cutter like me, where you don't have all those channels like back in the day.
I don't even know. I think I got TNT, but I don't watch that.
I know I watch it during playoffs.
Exactly. But that's the only time I find myself watching TNT throughout the whole year.
Same.
And but there again, if I'm a wrestling fan, if I got TNT. I'm gonna find it. If I'm a basketball, it's a lot of basketball fans. That's wrestling fans. I don't know why the numbers like that, but hopefully they can pull the number up. Hopefully they'll stick around. But I just want to get that out there. We got to take a break. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey, this is two-time Hall of Famer Booker T, and I want to invite all of you to Summer of Champions 9, going down at the Humble Civic Center, 7 o'clock bell time, guys. Brought to you by one Walker, Texas lawyer. Don't miss out on the biggest show of the summer, where all the championships will be on the line. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. Summer of Champions 9. Now can you dig that, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I know you're checking me out. You think, man, Booker's looking real jacked. He's looking real jacked again. What's his next move? What's his play? Is he getting ready to do something? Is something in the works? Is something a brewing? That's what people are wondering. Just keep on wondering. I know we got some super chatters out there, man. Let's get to them.
We do. And before we actually get to the super chatters, I do want to give a big shout out to our own Promise Braxton, who was featured in Pro Wrestling Illustrated this month. I love her, and I get happy anytime I see something from her, getting some shine, getting some success, because she's so awesome.
Under the expert tutelage of one Booker T. She's going to the top. She's a diamond. She's a diamond in the rough. She's promising, very promising. Oh, yes.
See what you did there. Well, I want to give a shout out to Scott Bot, who's a new member of the channel. We appreciate that, Scott,
awesome.
Man.
Appreciate you, dog.
You get a lot of content early. You get to see all the reality wrestling episodes early. So yeah, definitely go and check that out. But here's our first super chat.
Can I get a great?
SS, hold on, I'll tell you later. SS29 says, "Let me talk to you. What's with the hate for LA Knight? Nash was hating on him as a Rock ripoff. LA versus Logan Paul would be great. LA Knight versus Logan Paul could be interesting as a matchup for SummerSlam.
It could be, but
it wouldn't be my first ballot for him.
It's not. I mean, for me, Logan Paul, I don't. That's not the match I really want to see. But as far as LA Knight and the hate, I don't know if it was really hate from Nash or anything like that. I just think he was quoting his opinion.
Criticism. We can say it's criticism.
It was definitely criticism. Constructive, one could say.
One could say, sure.
Yeah, but definitely, it was just his opinion. But I think everybody's going to have, their opinion, and it may be different. Just like my opinion is, maybe he was, taking a little bit away from, The Rock, maybe a little bit from Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it might be a couple of other guys out there. I always talk to people about Stone Cold Steve Austin. Guys, go back and find some tape, if you possibly can, of gorgeous Gary Young. That's all you got to do. Find some tape of gorgeous Gary Young, and you're going to see Stone Cold Steve Austin. Exactly.
Gorgeous Gary Young. Wow, I'm
going to tell you, this dude, he was a worker down in Dallas, and he was a hell of a worker. And Stone Cold Steve Austin pretty much emulates gorgeous Gary Young. Still to this day, no better comparison.
Well, yeah, we'll have to go find some gorgeous Gary Young. I see a match of him versus Harley Race. Are you talking about from a promo perspective or from a work?
From a working perspective, in the ring.
Yeah.
The way they move, the way they held their hands, the way they threw punches, everything. Gorgeous Gary Young was Stone Cold Steve Austin before Steve Austin.
He even got the black trunks in this match that I'm watching. He's working Harley Race. By the way, do you think that Harley Race gets enough like love for how great he is? I was watching some of Harley Race the other day, and I was like, this guy is so good.
No, Harley was a mechanic in the ring, man. He could do pretty much everything, and he did everything right. A great worker, literally second to none. You know, people talk about Ric Flair just because he was so flamboyant and over the top, but as far as workers go, I think Ric Flair would tell you there was nobody better than that man. Seriously, Harley Race was that good.
King, man. One of the great kings in wrestling history, too.
Yeah, one of them.
Gotta love him. We have another super chat here. This comes from the Dork Knight, who's I like the username. What did you guys think of Punk versus Joe 4? Did you get to see CM Punk versus Samoa Joe?
I got a chance to see some of it.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I'm gonna reserve my opinion, because I like Samoa Joe. he's a friend of mine. CM Punk, like I said, is a guy that I have no ill will towards as well. But the match. It's one of those type of things. I'm gonna say this about the match, and you guys can go back and watch the match yourself, and you guys can go back and watch 3, 2, and 1. Okay, that's what I'm comparing this match to. It's so hard to go out there and recreate something that you did once upon a time.
Sure.
And top what you did once upon a time. Trust me, I say that. Best of 7 series when I did it in WCW was one thing. Best of 7 series in WWE, my bones was like, what the hell am I thinking? No. And I'm gonna tell you right now, that's what it looked like to me. It looked like those guys were like, man, this ain't like it was when we were, in our 20s. So that's what I saw when I watched, the little bit of that match that I watched.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be difficult to recreate magic from back in the day, but I understood why they booked it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and here's the other thing. Going back to we were talking about ratings in a segment earlier. I mean, you got to book. Again, it's a Saturday night show, and I think that we have to look at these Friday and Saturday shows. Those are like difficult nights because those are the nights people go out most of the time. Unless you're a little bit older, maybe married, maybe you got some children. But most people are going out Saturday and Friday night.
Don't the DVR count as a number?
Yeah, I think it's on. I think it's the issue. I think that it's like a +7, so it's like whatever the number is that night, and then they look at the replay viewers over the next 7 days, and then come up with what the full number really is.
Yeah.
So if you look at overnight ratings, like for instance, Collision, I think the debut episode was like 800 and something thousand, almost close to 900. And then the episode last weekend, not the Punk versus Samoa Joe one, but the one July 1st was like 430,000. So I mean, it was almost a 50% drop.
Okay, there again, I think that almost proves my point again. As far as those AEW fans, it's a number on that audience, and it's around 1 million people, 900,000 that really want to tune in to watch that show, and that same number tune in to watch the debut of Collision. I think I'm pretty spot on accurate as far as the
But do you think? But what's then? Okay, then if those 900,000 are the core fans, why aren't they coming back every week for Collision?
Well, sometimes they just don't feel like watching the show. Just like
but 900 to 430.
Sometimes they might feel the same way everybody else feels, but they still got the support.
I will actually say.
I know that's going to be taken out of context.
And this might be too, but I actually like the feel of Collision more than Dynamite. Like Collision's got a cool feel to it. I don't know if it's the set. It kind of goes by quicker when I have watched it. Now I didn't watch this last weekend. I didn't see it. I try to watch as much of the shows on all of them, but that's a lot of shows, man. There's a lot of wrestling on TV. You know what I mean? There's like what? There's 2 hours on NXT. There's 2 hours on SmackDown. There's 3 hours on Raw. There's 2 hours with Dynamite. There's 1 hour with Rampage and there's 2 hours with Collision. I can't even do that much math in my head. That's a lot of wrestling.
It's a lot of wrestling. But if it's something that you want to watch, you're gonna tune in. I don't care if it's a bunch of wrestling or not. If it's something that you really off into, it's just like, just say for instance, when something is really, really good to me, I'll binge watch it. I can't, I can't stop watching it till it's over with.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. If it's something that you like, you just can't say, we just got a lot of wrestling on, and there's so much, people ain't gonna. I don't buy into that. Just because, like I say, if it's something that I'm really off into, and it's capturing me, I'm staying with it to the end. Every episode, I'm gonna keep watching it. So I just feel like, I think the star appeal has to be there more than just the name of the show.
And that's why you booked CM Punk versus Samoa Joe.
Yeah, I get that. I get the CM Punk Joe match. And again, I'm not hating on that match. You asked me, the question was, what did I think about the match?
Sure.
And I'm not going to sit here and hate on the match or anything like that, like a lot of people would want me to. But I'm just saying, you go back and watch 1, 2, and 3, then you watch 4, you go, man, these guys, ain't as easy as it used to be. Let's just say that.
Well, we got to get some more super chats because we only have one more segment after this one today. So let me try to get to this one here. There we go. Richard Jr. or Richard Jr. says, can Seth Rollins keep the title with the same smart move? Plus, can The Miz screw Ciampa with assists? Okay, we got several questions here. Plus, who can be Becky's partner for SummerSlam? Plus, can Zelina Vega use Angle? That's your legacy. Do you respect your legacy at NXT?
$5 of the question.
That's a lot, man, but he got it in there. Respect, man. We'll do as much. Okay. Can Seth Rollins keep the title with same smart move?
I think so. I mean, Seth Rollins right now, he's on a roll. He's proven himself. He's going out there and pushing himself too. So I love everything what Seth is doing right now. As far as can The Miz screw Ciampa with an assist? Of course he can. That's almost a no-brainer. But Ciampa is definitely, Ciampa. Let me say that right.
Ciampa.
He's in a great position. Get the rub and move up. A lot of people love, Tommaso Ciampa and what he brings to the table. So I would love to see this guy move up to the next level. As far as Zelina Vega, what was the question there?
Because she used the angle, that's your legacy. Do you respect your legacy at NXT? I'm not sure what that one is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is either, but we got to take a quick break. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll get to the rest of it on the back end. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey, this is two-time Hall of Famer Booker T, and I want to invite all of you to Summer of Champions 9, going down at the Humble Civic Center, 7 o'clock bell time, guys. Brought to you by one Walker, Texas lawyer. Don't miss out on the biggest show of the summer, where all the championships will be on the line. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. Summer of Champions 9. Now can you dig that, sucker?
Yeah. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. We get close to wrapping the thing up, guys. We got a short day today because we're getting preempted by the Dynamo here in Houston. So, but it's all good. We're coming to you from ESPN 97.5, 92.5, giving you your champagne wishes and caviar dreams right here inside the Hall of Fame. But let's keep it rolling, man.
So the last part of that last question was, who do you see Becky's partner being at SummerSlam? I guess maybe they're angling for Trish and Zoe Stark versus Becky and perhaps somebody. I thought they were building to a one-on-one with them two, but maybe they're building to a tag.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm not sure. I haven't been. I can only be honest. I haven't been totally in tune to what Becky's been doing, a lot of what the main roster's been doing outside of the bloodline. Just because I've been so in tune to NXT, Great American Bash coming up. Just trying to watch these young guys come up, but I don't know. I have to get back with you on that one.
All right, let's go to our next one here.
Super chat.
I was watching an old clip on YouTube of Booker and Sharmell being on Family Feud. thoughts on the experience and being contestants. Yeah, I think it was when John O'Hurley was the host and y'all did it for TNA, right?
Yeah. No, we did that for WWE.
Oh, that was a WWE thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I thought it was a TNA thing.
I stole the show. I had all the right answers on on that show, man. I had such a great time.
So funny.
No, I'm serious, and then going against the wife. That because we wasn't on the same team, we was against each other. But it was an awesome experience, and I had such a great time being on Family Feud. Something that you, as a kid, grow up, you never see yourself doing something like that. That's what was really, really cool about it.
Man, what do you think about old Pat Sajak?
Wait a minute. Much better than the weakest link.
Historically, not your best day. Right?
I had a major migraine that a lot of people don't understand. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's all good. Well, you know what? And not that you need any defense, but the weakest link was a really strange show, the way it was set up. You know what I mean? The way that they asked the questions and the way that it was all kind of set up.
Intimidating. It was intimidating, man.
Yes.
It was intimidating. It was a very scary show. And I don't know. I was just out of my element from the beginning on the weakest link. But,
because here's the difference. Weakest Link is not a show for play. It's a show. Family Feud's a show for play. Like, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna joke. We're gonna make it a kind of a party atmosphere. Weakest Link. I don't remember what the woman's name was, but she would hit you with that. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah,
she was curt with it.
Cold-blooded. She was like
cold, man. She was
like a murderer, man.
She was so cold with it. Why'd she have to do that, man? What do you think about Pat Sajak stepping down, man? He's not going to be the Wheel of Fortune host anymore.
And it comes a time, man. It comes a time where every man has to step down. I mean, Bob Barker, no matter who it is. I mean, it is.
Vanna stay, though. Vanna say, I'm staying.
Vanna, she stayed as long as she possibly could. Yeah.
She's still there.
She's still there.
She's still there. And she's staying with Ryan.
She got to be 70 years old.
Well, Vanna White's got to be at least 70 or maybe late 60s.
Wow.
She's still there.
Wow. They need to replace her.
She's 66.
I know she holding on that job as long as she like, I would sue everybody.
Age discrimination. Oh man, that's funny.
Oh,
yeah, she's sticking around, man. She's sticking around.
Power to it, man.
Hey, let's go to our next one here. This is from John JLD 999. More people are discovering territory wrestling now. Is WWE planning to put more of their library on Peacock? There's only 10 episodes of Smoky Mountain out right now.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, I've been working on trying to get reality wrestling to that platform for quite some time. Smoky Mountain was definitely an organization that, created some really, really good content. So I see why they're on there. I think they got a couple other companies on there. I'm not sure, but hopefully reality wrestling can find their way onto that platform, because I really think it would do a lot of good for my young stars, as well as people getting a chance to see some really, really good independent wrestling, and not just find it, but be able to find that spot if they're trying to get into the business of where I can go. I mean, Smoky Mountain is cool, but Smoky Mountain is a relic. Reality of wrestling is still going strong today. So let's get it on the network.
Still here, man. Yeah, we're going to get it on there. It's going to happen. This is from Mike Edwards. I hope Queen Sharmell ban you from ringside at Summer of Champions. We don't need your shenanigans and mischievous acts making Matty Ice the champ.
Look, man, I won't be banned from ringside. I will be at ringside. I'll be there with Promise Braxton. I'll be there with the Heat. I'll be there with my man, Matty Ice. And we've taken over reality of wrestling. We can't be stopped. Nothing can stop us right now but us. This unit, the five. So, guys, make sure you show up at the Humble Civic Center, because you're going to see something special. You're going to remember where you were on July 15th for the rest of your life. Trust me on that.
Can you dig that, man? This comes from James Foreman. You and Promise Braxton seem to have a father-daughter chemistry going on quite a few row clips. Am I reading too much into it? Is it a mentoring relationship?
Kind of broke up on me there a little bit, Brad. But
Oh.
yeah, I read it. I read it also. But I mean, yes, a father, daughter, mentoring, relationship with me and Promise. Promise, she's cut from that same cloth that I'm cut from. A kid that grew up, that was, it was dark, man. It was dark, and I had to keep walking to that light at the end of that tunnel. And Promise is like I say, she's that same person. She knows what it's like to struggle. She knows what it feels like to want something and want something really bad. And she's gonna know what it feels like to have a taste of good life, because she's gonna go out there. She's gonna clean up. She's gonna go out there and she's gonna make me proud. More importantly, she's gonna make herself proud. And it's gonna be a awesome sight to see.
Let's go to our next one. We only have a couple more minutes inside the hall. This comes from Kappa Owens. Thoughts on the Four Brothers Bloodline match at Money in the Bank? Yeah, that was really great match, man. It saw Roman getting pinned for the first time by main event Jey Uso in 3.5 years, I believe.
Jay, man, has done some hell of a work, man. I was just watching just last week, and I'm like, man, it's the growth,
So good.
the growth of the Usos from their time in reality of wrestling, man. It seems like a lifetime ago. It really does. Those guys have stepped up, and I said they were going to go down as the greatest tag team, that ever was. They were going to surpass Harlem Heat and everything that we ever did. So I'm proud of those guys.
The Romeo and Juliet, the Phantom of the Opera. And you know what? It's interesting you say that, because before their match, they had to sit down with Ariel Helwani, and they talked about the main event of WrestleMania where they went under, right? And I believe it was Jimmy who said, we were laying there and the words, and I'm paraphrasing, so if I get any of this wrong, forgive me. But he said the words that were going through my mind is something that Booker T would always tell us is, it's not how you win, it's how you lose. And he said, I reached over and he grabbed Jay's hand. He said, we just held hands while we laid there on the mat, and, the rest of them celebrated and stuff. He said it was a crazy moment. I'll never forget.
Wow. I didn't even see that, man. But just to hear that those guys remember my words, the lessons, everything that I tried to teach them about, the business, the artistry of it. And again, the Shakespeare, the Romeo and Juliet part, being able to lose, listening to the crowd, looking up at the lights. It's a beautiful thing, man, when you can find yourself in that moment. So, man, I appreciate those guys, man. I love those guys.
Now we're coming to the end of the show, and I saved this super chat for last because we're going to see, because this one's putting you on the spot. I'm not going to lie to you. This is really putting you on the spot. It's putting you in the hot seat, or as you used to say, the heat seat. So are you ready for it?
Let's do it.
Okay, this is from Kappa Owens. Kappa Owens says, BT, give us that live Summer of Champions promo.
Man, you all put me on the spot, man. Ain't ready for no promo right now, man. But everybody know, the promo how it's pretty much gonna go, man. It's gonna be Summer of Champions. It's gonna be in Humble Civic Center in Humble, Texas. Just right down the road from Houston, Texas. Just take I-45 to I-10. It's going to take you straight there. And trust me, it's going to be on like a steaming pot of neck bones, cooking for about 3 days, man. It's going to be seasoned. It's going to be seasoned right. And trust me, just like Jimmy Chan's dog, it's going to be sold out, sucker. Now, can you dig that?
There we go. Yeah. Champ is here.
Had to put Timmy Chan's over, baby. Timmy Chan's been in the city forever, dog. Going to get you one of them wing dinners, man. And the rice. How much you can eat for 3 days?
Timmy Chan's is legit, man. If y'all have never been in Houston, Timmy Chan's is awesome. It's a staple. Hey, I know we have Summer Champions this week. We'll be back later on in the week. I do also want to send our condolences to the family of Darren Drozdoff. Draws passed away last week. And, just unfortunate, his life cut short. But, just our condolences out to one of the fallen members of the fraternity.
Definitely, I agree 100%, man. Godspeed to Draws. He's a guy who has such a short run in the business, but have been remembered for his contributions. So Godspeed to Draws, and condolences to the family. But again, man, we got to get up out of here, man. I want to thank everybody who stepped inside the Hall of Fame, got your champagne wishes, caviar dreams, all the super chatters, man. We appreciate you guys. You guys is what keep this show going on a weekly basis. And Brad, always for the heavy lifting, man. We appreciate you. But right now, we got to get up out of here, y'all. Peace. We love you, and we out.